Welcome to the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. I'm Allie Rose, certified clinical hypnotherapist and subconscious success coach. I help my clients stop self-sabotage and feel safe to create more wealth, worth, and wellness from within. If you find yourself stuck repeating the same unhelpful patterns in your life, health, business, or relationships, even after all the mindset work, this podcast is for you. Each week, you'll hear deep dives into the hidden beliefs shaping your life and live hypno-coaching sessions where someone shifts a block in real time. Because willpower isn't the problem, your subconscious story is. And when you shift it at the root, everything else begins to change. So let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. In today's episode, you're going to hear a real-time hypno-coaching session with Liz, an intuitive coach and healer who came in to explore a deep block around visibility, specifically the fear of being fully seen in her business. We start with conscious conversation, and then you'll hear us drop into the subconscious work where so much of our fear, resistance, and old survival patterns live. As always, for safety and privacy, some parts of the hypnosis session have been edited out, but you'll still get the full heart of the session. As you listen, I want to invite you to reflect. Where in your life does being seen still feel unsafe? What old survival strategy might be showing up in your life, business, or relationships? And what could shift in your life if being seen didn't feel like a threat? All right, let's dive in.
Hi, Allie.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Do you go by Liz or
Liz, typically I go by Liz, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check in on that.
Mhm.
All right, let me get us all locked up. All right. How are you feeling about today?
Good. I may be a little bit anxious just because, it's unknown exactly what we're going to do and what we might come up and what we explore, but excited overall.
Right. Yeah, so today we're just going to be exploring this part of you that has come up with this block, which it sounds like it's a visibility, a fear of being seen. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. And specifically in your business, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, when we think about it big picture, I can see ways it maybe can manifest in other areas of my life, but it's really in my business that I want to focus on right now.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So tell me a little bit more about this fear of being seen in your business, how it shows up, what you're noticing.
Okay, gotcha. So, just for a little bit of context, my business currently is that I am an intuitive coach and healer for conscious and spiritual women. So, what that means is I blend intuitive guidance, which is usually through tarot readings and oracle card readings. That's my preferred method of accessing that information with coaching and then Reiki and other forms of energy healing work to help my clients create change. And I'm really focused on helping women just heal blocks that come up for themselves in their love life, in their personal life, and their life purpose, step into their power and manifest lives that they love. And so this work has been a bit of a change for me from my past career. I'm a traditionally trained therapist and worked for about 10, 11 years within the traditional therapy model and got kind of burnt out on doing that personally at a couple other life transitions, and then have come back around to working with people on their emotional and mental health, but in this more like intuitive, spiritual type of way.
Right.
So what I'm finding as I step more and more into this business is some difficulties really putting myself out there that show up in different ways. Like with some people, it's even like describing what I do and who I help. With other people, I'm totally fine with that. Like with the people that I feel like will be my ideal clients, I'm totally fine with that aspect. But then doing things like marketing myself or showing up on social media, I will do like a little burst of it and then like contract back. And I just feel like I'm not settled in really being like seen and visible for what I'm doing and what my interests are. And yeah, just being out in the world in that kind of way. And I think part of it is just this transition from moving from one model of working and a particular, you know, like academic training, et cetera, into this more like holistic sort of model. That might be a little part of it, but I think it's deeper than that. Like, I think I have always had trouble sharing myself and being vulnerable, like, shows up with some, it's really hard for me to cry in front of other people or to share my emotions, particularly the more challenging ones like anger or sadness or that kind of thing. So I think there's a thread to there and that it's more about some challenges around that than just like the identity shift in terms of business stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. And on that note, you said that you've always had trouble sharing yourself, sharing your emotions, those challenging emotions. Tell me just a little bit about your family, how you grew up, your relationship with your mom and dad.
Sure, absolutely. So definitely, I would not be surprised if that's where the roots are. I'm pretty self aware about
Uh
that.
huh. Sure.
But I grew up in a family where my mom and dad were both not from this country, so they were immigrants. And I think there was some tension between like normal American life and like the cultures that they grew up with. So they were very strict with me and with my brother growing up. So there was a lot of expectation for our behavior, our academic success, and just showing up in a very particular way that to make them happy. And if they were not happy, it was kind of a chaotic, sort of explosive,
Mm-hmm.
angry kind of environment. I'm trying to think of some examples of that. Like, for example, when I was in school, my parents wanted me to go to medical school, which if culturally was like what was most normal for them. That wasn't something I was interested in doing. I've always been interested in the study of mind, of emotions, people. So there were lots and lots and lots and lots of fights around this and a lot of shaming, a lot of threatening to be disowned, a lot of like, very explosive type of stuff. So that's just one example in my, young adulthood or teenagehood. But even earlier on, just anytime there was behavior that wasn't in line with what they wanted, even if it's just like normal kid stuff, there was a very strong reaction to that. So I just think I really learned to mask and keep things peaceful. And I would, on the surface, appear like I was doing everything perfectly that they wanted, but actually, would go off and do whatever I wanted in the background. So there's like disconnect there.
Right. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for sharing that with me. Is there anything else that you think that it would be important for me to know before we dive into the session?
Let me think here. I definitely think I was given a lot of messages around not showing my emotions. And I think that that might be part of it, part of a factor here as well. Like to some degree, shamed when I would cry, or, there would be, my parents would sometimes be angry with each other, or there'd be anger in the household, but God forbid I be angry, that kind of thing. So I think that that's a part of it as well.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Well, I'm a big believer that our mind will show us exactly what we need to know when we go into hypnosis. So all of that is great context to set the stage for our work. But if you're ready, I'm ready to dive in. So go ahead and if you can just look up as high as you possibly can, as if you were trying to look into your own eyebrows, keeping your eyes glued to a real or imagined spot overhead. Just breathe in and out. Take another deep breath. Breathe in and out. And each time you blink, that's hypnosis coming upon you. And just one final time, take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, just close your eyelids right down, all the way down. So every time I say the words, go deeper, you're just becoming more and more relaxed. So just one more time, go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper, at least 100 times deeper. That's perfect, Liz. You are responding perfectly, exactly as I knew you would, because I already know that you are incredibly open, receptive, and suggestible, and your mind is incredibly powerful. So now we're going to explore this part of you that has a fear of being seen in your business. So I want you to just imagine that you've gone inside yourself. You've turned your eyes inward. You're still Liz, but I want to give you a moment to scan your body until you find this part of you that has a fear of being seen or visible in your business because it thinks that it might have some useful role, function, purpose, and or intention in your life. And as you scan your body, I want you to notice where you hold this part of you. And when you find it, can you tell me, where do you carry this part of you in your body?
Feels like in my upper chest and heart.
And if you were able to pull this part of you out of you and it was in front of you, can you tell me, does it have a color, texture, shape, or size? What does it look like?
I had to give it a shape, I would say triangle,
Okay.
maybe blue or purple.
Okay.
Feels kind of like pokey or
Mm,
especially pointy.
mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And how do you feel about this part of you? What emotions come up for you when you think about it?
Like sadness and anxiety.
You feel sad because?
Wow. It feels like it holds me back, that I don't get to experience everything that I could.
Mm, mhm. Okay. And you feel anxious because?
Think maybe, I mean, part of me is used to it, and being like without it might be scary.
Mm, mhm. Yeah,
Um,
that makes a lot of sense.
mhm.
Okay. So now, again, I just want you to imagine that you're looking at that part of you. We're going to have a little conversation with it. And I want you to ask that part of you, what is your role in my life? Why are you here?
It's definitely feels like it's about safety and protection.
Okay. And I want you to ask it, what are you protecting me from? And let it tell you.
I'm hearing pain, ridicule, and conflict.
Mm, okay. Now I want you to ask that part of you, what is your function in my life? How are you helping me? And let it tell you.
Feels like it's definitely like a keeping me safe from those kinds of experiences that feel scary or unpleasant.
Mhm.
I feel like there's like an aspect of like it feels safe to be an observer rather than
Mhm.
a like full participant.
I want you to ask it, why do you need to keep me safe from painful or scary experiences?
So there's kind of like a feeling of like it's too much, it's too overwhelming, it hurts too much, or it's too uncomfortable.
Mhm.
A not being sure I can survive it.
Mhm.
It's not physically, but just like it feels so overwhelming emotionally.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in. You're doing great, Liz. Part of you is doing great. We're so grateful that it stepped forward to give us this information. I want you to just continue to hold that image of this part of you that has this fear of being seen or being visible in your business in your mind. And I want you to ask it, what is your purpose in my life?
It almost kind of feels like there's uh, two elements to it.
Okay.
Uh, One is that, there's still that theme around like safety, protection,
Mhm.
avoidance, things that might feel too much or too upsetting. But it also, strangely, maybe gives me something to overcome
Mm.
or
Mhm.
like to teach me something. That's how it's coming up for me.
Okay. Can you ask it, why do you need to do this?
Perhaps to prove myself worthy somehow.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I want you to go ahead and ask this part of you, what is your only intention in my life?
But at first, I heard to help you grow.
Mhm.
Then there was also the thread of to keep you safe. But at first, it was to help you grow.
Okay. And I want you to ask that part of you, how are you helping me grow?
Not sure it completely makes sense, but there's something about like if I struggle with this, it forces me to like perfect myself or work on myself or something.
Mm.
Then then it'll be safe when I put myself out there.
Okay. Okay. So, in some ways, it's all actually connected back to safety,
Mhm,
security,
mhm, I think so.
but it's just coming at it from two different angles.
Uh-huh.
There's like the surface level kind of course, I need to protect you from the criticism and the rejection. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to cause you to struggle with this because if you struggle, then you'll be able to perfect yourself, which will keep you safe when you do put yourself out there.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So now I want you to ask that part of you. What was going on in my life when you first came into my life?
First heard like too much chaos.
Mhm.
And then definitely started thinking about my mother. There's not like I'm not really seeing like a specific scene or event. Um but I think there's some connection there with creating safety from a sense of chaos
Mm,
connected to her. Um, I also think that tends to be my mother's strategy of trying to make things perfect.
mm,
So I feel like there's some connection there.
mhm. Okay, so your mom's strategy is to make things perfect. So I guess I'm curious, as you were growing up, was there a sense for yourself that you needed to be perfect to avoid the chaos that came in your relationship?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And I want you to ask that part of you, how old was I when you came into my life?
I heard 7.
Okay. Okay. So what did that cause you to believe when you were 7 years old and you have this mom who you felt like you needed to be perfect for in order to avoid the chaos or maybe the overwhelming emotions or the explosiveness? What did that cause you to believe about yourself?
It's better to be quiet.
Mhm. You said to keep things to yourself?
Mm.
What did it cause you to believe about other people?
Um, that they can be not safe, that they're not maybe predictable.
And what did it cause you to believe about the world?
I don't think that I necessarily feel or ever felt, even at 7, that the world was unsafe
Mhm,
completely. But I think there's a sense of being on, needing to be on guard.
mhm. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to take a deep breath in. And I want to ask you, Liz, how do you feel about this now? Is it working for you to be small, to keep things to yourself, to hold on to this fear of being seen?
No.
Okay. Why is it not working for you?
Um, I think it's not working for me on a number of elements. It's impacting the growth of my business and my financial stability. Um, because when you have a service, you need to let people know you have a service,
Right.
share it with them. Um, I think sometimes it keeps me from being completely open and vulnerable in my close connections.
Mhm.
Um, and so without that, I think relationships don't achieve the depth that they could.
Right.
Um, it also leaves me feeling often unsupported and like
Mhm.
I have to do everything by myself,
Mhm. Right.
which I logically know is not true, but it's hard for me to completely step into kind of being open and receiving.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, can you see and understand why you came up with this as a 7-year-old? You came up with this part of you,
Yes.
and that's beautiful because if you came up with it, you can let it go. We all have different beliefs that we have that served us at one point in time in our life, and then we decide that they no longer serve us and we can let them go. So, I want you to tell me and this part of you, how are you different now as an adult than when you were 7 years old?
I'm stronger and more emotionally resilient. Uh, I'm an adult and in charge of my environment and can make choice and move toward things I want and away from things I don't want. Um, I have support systems that are stable and safe. Um, I've had enough experience to know when I share myself, that's actually a positive thing
Mhm. Yeah.
and well received.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Um, I guess just that I don't need the same kind of protection that I needed then.
Right. Right. I mean, how beautiful is it that you, as a 7-year-old, your brilliant mind came up with this part of you because it observed what was going on in your world, and it came up with a part of you to keep you safe.
Mhm.
It's really beautiful and brilliant. Now you're an adult and you're no longer 7 years old. So I want to ask you, are you ready to let that part go?
Yes.
Now I want you to ask that part of you, is it ready to go?
Are you ready to go? I'm hearing not completely.
Okay. I want you to ask that part of you, what do you need from me to feel safe enough to leave?
So there's kind of a sense of like, how can I be sure it'll be okay?
Mhm.
There's also a sense of why do I have to leave?
Right. Yeah. Those are great questions. And so I would say to you, the part doesn't have to leave, but I'm wondering if we could ask the part if it would be okay taking on another role or another job in your life because currently what it's doing, it's not working for you anymore. And every part of us wants to be doing something good for us. So is there some other role or job that we could give to that part of you that would be more helpful when you feel unsafe, or is there something that would help?
Hmm. Mhm. Feels like it still wants to be there
Mhm.
to help me use like discernment.
Mhm.
Um, and to uh may sound kind of strange, but it's almost to give me love. Like,
Mm.
uh, don't know if I can put more words to it but there it's like has a nurturing quality for
Mm.
some.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest with you, it makes a lot of sense to me based on what I know about, I think that this part, something about your mom specifically came up. And you had shared with me at the beginning of the call that, they were very explosive, very strict, right? And this part of you was formed to manage some of that. And so I love that the new role that it wants to take on is of that more nurturing, loving, wise part of you that maybe you, and I don't want to make assumptions, obviously, because I don't know your full story, but maybe you didn't get a lot of that from your mom
Mm,
in some ways.
mm,
So now this part is recognizing, okay, I've served her in this way for a period of time. That's no longer working. I will take on these other nurturing, caring, loving, wise parts.
mhm. That makes sense.
Does it feel good about taking on that role?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in. And I want you to just bring that part of you back to mind. And I want you to tell me, has it shifted at all? Does it look different? Does it feel different in your body?
I feel like interestingly, it's a circle now rather than a triangle,
Mm, hmm.
kinda like softly glowing.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So go ahead and repeat after me. Thank you for helping me the way you did.
Thank you for helping me the way you did.
Had a very powerful impact on my life.
You've had a very powerful impact on my life.
You've been keeping me safe for so many years,
You've been keeping me safe for so many years.
but I don't need you in the same way anymore.
I don't need you in the same way anymore.
I'm giving you a new role
I'm giving you a new role
where you can help me be wise,
where you can help me be wise.
where you can give me the love and nurturing that I need.
You can give me the love and nurturing that I need.
Now, Liz, I want to just give you a minute to see anything that you need to see or feel anything or say anything that you might need to say to that part. Come to completion with it. Okay, wonderful. All right, I want you to take another deep breath in, and I want you to call to mind that 7-year-old version of you. See if you can just form a picture of her in your mind's eye. Okay. And I want you to just imagine her there and you as the adult that you are now. I want you to step into that scene wherever she is. And I want you to say anything and everything that she needs to know. What does she need to hear from you?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, wonderful. Now I want you to picture that small child, the younger you, hovering just above your head. See her now slowly dropping down, descending down, merging into your body, merging into your heart, merging into your life now. You feel the child fully merged within you now. She's never ever going back because the child, the little you, is now taking up residence in you as an adult. She's free now. She's had a massive upgrade into your life. Past is behind her and behind you. And you, Liz, you are free now to be the person, the adult that you choose to be. And just take a deep breath in and allow yourself to feel her fully merged within you. And on the count of one, you're becoming more aware. On the count of two, you're aware of the room and the sounds around you. On the count of three and four, go ahead and take in a deep breath. And on the count of five, whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room.
Mhm.
How was that for you?
Thank you. It was really good, really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me a little bit more. Was there anything that was surprising or gave you more
Uh,
clarity?
Um, it was a little surprising to me when that part of me was like a little, well, it shouldn't surprise me. I can be a little stubborn. So it doesn't surprise me that any part of me is a little stubborn. Like didn't necessarily want to leave, but wanted to shift to a different role. I thought that was really interesting. Um, and I really liked the piece you did at the end with like some of the reminders for me to listen to. So thank you for doing that. I don't I think the other stuff it definitely all kind of like makes sense to me when I reflect upon it.
Yeah, and it's normal. We initially ask the part to leave, but it's also normal, especially when something has been protecting you or creating a sense of safety that doesn't necessarily want to leave. And that's okay
Mhm.
because we can just, like you did, we can give it another role. It doesn't have to leave.
I gotcha. Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. So, well, thank you so much for trusting me to guide you through that process. Is there
Uh,
anything else you want to share or say before we close up?
Not particularly other than just thank you for a beautiful session and opening up this offering. I feel really good about it.
I want to thank Liz so much for her honesty, courage, and willingness to let us witness this part of her story. So many of us hold back from being fully seen, not because we lack confidence or clarity, but because at some point we learned that visibility came with risk. Liz's story is a reminder that even the most successful, intuitive, or self aware among us still carry protective parts from childhood. And the more we understand them, the more power we have to choose something different. As you close out this episode, here are a few questions to sit with. Where are you still dimming your light to keep the peace? What beliefs did your younger self take on about being seen? And what would shift if visibility no longer felt like a threat, but an act of freedom? If this episode stirred something in you and you're ready to explore your own patterns around visibility, safety, or self expression, I'd love to support you. You can head to shiftyourstorypodcast.com or click the link in the show notes to learn more about how we can work together and book your free connection call. And if this conversation moves something in you, would you share it with someone who might need to hear it? I'm sending you so much love and gratitude. Until next time. Thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. If today's conversation sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to send me a message on social media. I'm at the Allie Rose on both Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to be coached on a future episode or explore what it would look like to work with me one-on-one, head over to shiftyourstorypodcast.com. And if you never want to miss an episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review. It helps more people find this work. Until next time, keep shifting, keep growing, and most importantly, I want you to remember that your story isn't set in stone. You always have the power to shift it.